Hi designers, greetings from my end, Dima here, and you're welcome to Jen's sewing tutorial. On today's tutorial, I'll be sharing with you how to make this gorgeous bustier dress with 720 degrees flare. You will not want to miss any part of the strapless or tube bustier dress. If it sounds like what you've been interested in, knowing how I achieved this, then you have to stick around till the end. I will put you through everything you need to know to make this beautiful dress. To make this, I used Mikado silk and I used a miniature dress form. Yes, I used the measurement from a miniature dress form. Don't worry, it's just like your regular measurement. There is no difference, and I'll be putting you through everything you need to know to make this dress. You will understand every part of it. I started by making a line on my paper, on my pattern paper. I just made like ½ inch, mark from the beginning of that paper and ruled a horizontal line, just like this. So nothing serious, this is just the starting point which I will use as my shoulder line. So having ruled that, the next thing I am going to do is to go ahead and start the whole pattern making. So I'll be taking points, levels right now. And the first level I'm taking is the bust point. Just use your regular bust point, okay? Bust point level, okay? So this one is the waistline, and I'll go ahead and take the gown length. You know, the waistline is the half length for the front because I'm making the front pattern right now. So I'm taking the markings again just to get a straight horizontal line. Okay, so having done that, I'm going to rule horizontal line across the bust. Okay, bust level, that is the bust point, and then the waist, which is the front half length. Okay, and then the gown length. So this exact measurement with your measurements or your client's measurement is what you're going to use. Now shoulder measurement divided by 2, and this is their crotch chest level, which is always 5. Okay, you just come in by half. So I mean shoulder measurement divided by 2, and I marked it again, then ruled vertical line there. This is the shoulder measurement divided by 2. Now I came in by half. That's what I did there. So right now, this is your neckline, basic neckline, which is usually 3 by 3, and that is what I marked right now. And I'm trying to use this my curved ruler to just curve up the neckline. 3 by 3 or 3 1/4 by 3 1/4 or 3.5 by 3.5, depending on how big your client is. Okay, so right now I sloped the shoulder, which is the regular slope. 1 inch is what you're going to use. Now this is the bust measurement divided by 4. If your bust measurement is 40, just divide it by 4, and that is what you're going to mark here and draw a vertical line just as I did. Okay, so having done this, I'll go ahead and measure my armhole. Okay, if you're not clear with our basic pattern making, this basic pattern making of drawing armhole, I'll put the link in the description. How all you need to know is in that video. All you need to know about basic pattern making, or you can use your method of basic pattern making or drawing armhole to do this. So what I marked now is waist measurement divided by 4 plus that intake of 1 inch. Anything your waist measurement is, divide it by 4 and add your that intake of 1 inch. That is what I did here. Okay, where I shaded will be going off at the end of this pattern making. So what I marked here is bust to bust. Okay, bust to bust measurements. If your bust to bust is 7, just measure 3.5. You divide it by 2 and measure. Now mark ½ inch on both sides of this on the waistline and draw your dark leg to the bust point, just as you can see me do. So that is what we're going to do, and go ahead and mark your on the bust. If you get it from the bust point, fine. You can still measure down that from the shoulder at neck, okay, to your bust on the bust line. So here is 3/4 and here is 1/4. I hope you understand. Here is 1/4. You meet the dart leg, and here is 3/4. You also take it to the dart leg. So right now you can see that the dart has increased by 1/4, and you just go ahead and add it up here and smoothen it by the side, just as I did. Okay, So you can see me just blending the curve of the under bust tightening. So having done this, just take your neck drop where comfortable. Okay, normally from this basic neckline, 4.5 to 5 inches is fine for the style that we are making. Okay, so right now what I'm going to do, you can see how I drew the neckline. Just take a level on your armhole and connect, as you can see me do. Take a point on the over bust and mark 1/2 inch on both sides. Okay, then connect this to the bust point, just as you can see me do. These shaded parts will be going off. I'm giving you the exact values that you are going to use for a regular dress. So now what I'm marking is the difference between the front half length and back half length. Now this is very, very specific. Okay, it depends on your client's measurements or your measurements. Okay, just the difference between the front half length and the back half length. That is what formed that. Now this is the tightening for the tube, the strapless. This is the tightening. Very, very important to ensure that it's snug and will not fall off your body when you're done making this dress. Okay, having done that, I'm going ahead to mark the waist measurement down to the length of the dress. That is all I did here, and we are almost done with this actually. So just go ahead and make the back pattern, which is even easier than the front. So I'm cleaning off this line that was extended to this point because I won't be needing it for the back pattern. So you measure here back half length and mark anything your back half length is. That is what you're going to mark here. Then I'll use my ruler and draw a horizontal line, just as you can see me do. So right now I'll take my shoulder measurement divided by 2. If your shoulder measurement is 16, divide it by 2 and do that twice and rule a vertical line, just as you can see me do. Right now is the neck. What it usually is for the back basic neck is 3/2. Okay, 3/2. Then you go to the shoulder slope and drop by 1 inch and connect this to the neckline. I hope you understand. Is that easy? So right now I am going to the across back, which is 5 inches drop from this line, and I had to go in by half, and I'll go ahead and mark the bust measurement divided by 4. That is what you need right here. Bust measurement divided by 4, mark at 2 places and then draw a vertical line, just as you can see me do. As simple as that. You can see that it's exactly the same with a regular measurement. So I am giving you the exact values you need. So right now what I'm drawing is the armhole measurement. Please, if you're not clear with this method of armhole, you can use your own method of drawing your armhole, or better still, you can check the link in the description box. I'll be linking up the tutorial of basic pattern making. So I had to do back tightening 1/2 inch, and then from there I measured waist measurement divided by 4 plus that intake. That is what I marked. Where I'm shedding will be going off. So here is the back tightening. I ensured it didn't get to the end of the armhole, and where I shaded will be going off. So right now this level that I'm pointing now is where the strapless is going to go through. So this is how the back will be. Is going to run straight to meet the end of the armhole. Now this is the tightening for the strapless. This is a contour guideline for the strapless to ensure that it does not pull off, and that is 1/2 inch that I took there. Every part of this pattern that I shaded will be going off at the end of this tutorial. So the next is just to cut out, and I will continue. Designers, creatives, if you have watched to this stage and you have not subscribed to my channel, what are you waiting for? What are you waiting for? Do well to subscribe and turn on your notification bell to be the first to know when I upload my videos. There is always something new to learn from my videos. So right now what I'm cutting out are the patterns still, and I'm labeling all the parts that I need to label. So what I cut out now is the skirt part, which I'll be using later to show you how to make 720 degrees flea. I hope you understand. If you have any question, just put it in the comments and I will be there to answer promptly. So here I am just drawing the dart leg. Okay, I just got the dart point and I drew the dart leg. You know, the length of the lower part of this dart, I like using 5.5 to 6 inches length of that for the lower part. Okay, so this is what I did on that skirt. So here I am cutting the upper parts of this and you can see what I have, and I'm slashing the side border so that I'll close it up just like this. I'll use my masking tape and tape down the dart. So this is how you get what you want. On the bust, I'm just labeling where I should. You can see where I wrote up, I wrote center back and side back and all of that. Now watch what I'm going to do with this skirt. I drew a vertical line to meet the dart, that is one. Then I had to slash to the dart points like that, and I turned over and opened up the dart, but I didn't cut through to separate the skirt. Okay, this is just for me to be able to close up the dart. I want to close up this dart, so closing it up, I'll use masking tape and tape it down just like this. So I will draw more slash lines on the skirt just as you can see me do, but I won't be spreading it now till I won't be slashing and spreading it now till I'm ready for the 720 degrees flay. Okay, so right now you can see what I have. I will go ahead and cut all this on the Mikado silk. I'm using Mikado silk for this project. Note that anytime you want to make a particular style, it's very important that you choose a fabric that will give you exactly the style that you want. Not every fabric works with, like now, if I use chiffon to make this dress, you're not going to see it standing the way it is standing. So always choose the right fabric for your designs. Even when your client give you a fabric that is not suitable for a particular design, it's your duty to tell your client, no, this is not the best, this is what will be the best for this fabric, or if you want the style, this is the best fabric for the style. Okay, so you know that normally you will structure the inside like putting nettings on the lining, or yes, mainly nettings on the lining, or you use any other kind of interfacing to add extra structure to the inside of the skirts, especially on the lining, to give it that texture and fullness. Okay, so right now you can see what I have here. I have my back pattern and my front pattern. Now I will go ahead and cut the flay. The flay I'm going to cut on fold like this, but if you want you can cut yours on triangle just as I demonstrated now, but that is not what I want because I want this particular flow that I'm trying to replicate. So if you want this flow, please put it on fold like this. I've gone ahead to slash open the slash lines just as you can see. I'll just go ahead and spread it on this Mikado silk. So that is what we are going to do. So you can see how I am cutting it open, and after that just go ahead and spread it. So as I'm spreading it, I left a little ease on that fold, very little, about 1/8. So I left it so that it will give me the ease that I'll be using to join this flea. Okay, so that it will give me the ease that I will use to join this flea, because I need to join this flea to the one at the back. So this is the front part of the flea. I left about 1/8 inch on the fold before I placed the spread. You won't really notice it from here, but that was what I did from that fold. Very little ease. So right now just mark the length of the skirt at this beginning and go ahead and connect all of this. I'm marking the length of the skirt here as well. This is to help me connect appropriately. I will also check the length of the skirt here. So having done that, I'll connect it appropriately. Just as you can see, this is the waistline and this is all we have. I'll just go ahead and cut out this. I give a tiny seam allowance on the hem. Note that you is the best seam allowance for the hem of a flea is 1/4 or less. Don't use half inch. Half inch is a no, okay? 1/4 or less. So right now I had to place this to make the back. I also left a little allowance there right now from here. Now why I left this particular allowance for the back is for the zipper allowance, okay? That's about 1/8 again, because by the time I open it up it will be slightly more than that. It will be giving me about almost 1 inch in total, okay? Because the seam allowance I'm using for the top part is as well half inch, so 1 inch means half on both sides of the seam allow that's of the zipper allowance, okay? So having done that, I've cut for the front and for the back. Now you can see that the back is slightly wider than the front because of the zipper allowance, and you can see how I gave that allowance. So while doing yours, ensure that you follow the same method and you definitely get what I got. So right now, this is the fabric and of course the lining that I cut earlier. I'll go ahead and apply hairstay. Just as you can see, I've applied hairstay and wadding on it. Now this is the fabric part, this is the back part. I'll need to structure the neckline with pepper stay or gum stay. So this is the front part. You can see the wadding didn't get to the neckline and I put hairstay before the wadding. Now this is the back part. You can see my notches to avoid confusion while sewing them together. Now this is the front. You can see how I structured it with wadding. I'll go ahead and put structure to the upper parts of this back. If you want it to have lacing, cut it on an angle here and put your lacing, okay? But this one I made it as something that will have a zipper, not lacing. But if you have lacing, go ahead at this stage and create avenue for your lacing. So I've stitched this all together and ironed. I'll go ahead and stitch the neckline. I'll stick the neckline notch and top stitch before I continue with the armhole part. So right now I stitched the neckline. The next is to notch, just as you can see me do, and I'll go ahead and flip it open and stitch on it, okay? So here I've stitched on it and I've stitched on this armhole part as well. I'm going ahead to notch it. Now you're going to do all of this to ensure that you get a perfect seam after all of this. So I'm going to open it and top stitch. After top stitching, I turned it inside out and ironed, and you can see what I got, looking so gorgeous already. You can see how beautiful this bustier is looking already. Trust me, this is so beautiful. Video is not even doing justice to this gorgeous dress. So after doing that, I'll go ahead and stitch the flea to this. But before I stitch the flea, I'll show you what to do to the flea. Now here is the flea. You are going to cut open one side like this, just one side of the front, and then this back I will also be cutting one side. That is how to do it. You open it up like this and stitch it by the side with half inch, because that is the seam allowance that was considered, you know, for joining it together. Remember, I added seam while cutting it on fold. This is the reason why. Now you can see when you join it, you can see that the flare has already formed. So now, having done this, I'm going to place the flea like this and cut the back part open like this at the center back. Please don't cut this to the hem, just a little like this. Now I'll start from here and use half inch seam allowance and stitch it down. You know, I added extra seam while cutting the back as well because of this zipper allowance. Now this is when I'm using it. Trim off any excess thread to make your work neat. You can see how I stitched it down. So I'm going to just go ahead right now and join this to the upper part. You can see what it looks like already. Now I'm going to join it fabric to fabric. I did not cut lining for this, but feel free to cut lining. Of course, it's supposed to have lining. Feel free to cut your lining. So after joining fabric flay to fabric flay, you also join lining flay to lining flay, and after that you fix your zipper between the lining and the fabric. So right now I've gone ahead to join the flay to the upper bustier bodice, and you can see what it is looking like already. You can see that I didn't join the lining to it. You are going to join the lining flay to the lining of the bustier and then fix your zipper afterwards, like in between the lining and the fabric. So here I've got my miniature dress form to check the fit of this beautiful dress. So this is how I wore the miniature form, the dress, and had to go ahead and pin it at the back. So you can see that the seam that we have at the back is roughly ½ inch, which is equivalent to the seam allowance I gave for the zipper. You know, I used just ½ inch to cut all of the seam for this beautiful dress. You can see what it looks like. I'm just going ahead to pin it down on the waist and on the bust area just to show you the fit. You can see how gorgeous it's looking already. Do you like it? Are you going to try it out? This dress is so gorgeous. Use the same method I used, use the same way everything I did to achieve this, use the same, and you will be happy with your outcome. If you want to use boning, you can put bonings on the lining. If you want to put lacing at the back, you can do that. You can see how gorgeous it is. I made mine to have zipper. Feel free to put lacing if that is what you prefer, and also feel free to add bonings to the bustier lines and all. Do you love this? Tell me what you think in the comments, and thank you for always stopping by to watch my video. I love you all and I appreciate you all. See you in my next one. Bye.